Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Everybody doing good? Gonna kind of just chill out here for a few minutes, let a few people get on for a minute. Today is the very first of our Svelte Siren streams. Our goal is going to be to stream every 2 weeks on a new technology and try to integrate it with SvelteKit. Today, we're going to be trying out Storybook with SvelteKit, and in 2 weeks, on January 19th, we're going to have Shadid Haq from FaunaDB to set up integrating a GraphQL database in SvelteKit. And that's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or 1600 GMT if you're on the other side of the world. So, everyone joining in, audio good today. Hopefully, I'm not quiet like I have been in the past. Everything's sounding good. Make sure to say something in the comments. If you're excited to check out Storybook, I think we're going to be able to get a running application up today. All right, I will go ahead and switch it over here and we will get started. Okay, good. Sounds great. Thank you so much, Charles. I'm going to switch over to my code screen, and I think the overlay might get in the way, so I'm going to drop that off before I get started. Where's the overlay? Hide that. Okay. So we are going to start off by just starting a new SvelteKit application from scratch, and we're going to do this skeleton application with nothing in it because I think that it will help us to not get overcrowded by like TypeScript and ESLint and Prettier and get all the other stuff, so we can just see what's going on with SvelteKit and Storybook. So I'm going to go ahead and run my commands to create the SvelteKit application. I'm going to do npm init svelte at next. And we're going to call this Storybook SvelteKit. And that will go ahead and create this. Tells us it's beta software. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that's not going to be for much longer. And we are going to do that skeleton project, like I said, no to TypeScript, ESLint, and no to Prettier. Okay, that is all set up. So I'm going to change the directory into that Storybook SvelteKit app, and I will open that up. I'll close this one. Nice pretty background there, and open a new terminal, and we can go ahead and install all of our dependencies. Oh, yeah, awesome. Paolo, I will make sure to post it on Reddit from now on. That's a great idea. Thank you. Yeah, sure. I can make everything a little bit bigger. That might be too big, but we'll see. Okay. So we just installed all of our SvelteKit dependencies. We've got a new skeleton application up with nothing extra in it. We've got our Svelte config, just basic stuff there. This new adapter auto, which I believe just got added in this last bump. And in our package.json, we've got our dev, build, package, and preview commands that we could run. So, I mean, we can go ahead and see that we've got npm run dev. Oh, let's already start with that. Oh, it's already running. Is that what it is? Oh, well, where am I running you at? Yeah, okay, there we go. Now we have got that up, and move that over here. Make sure everyone can still see everything okay. It's a little crowded for me, but if everyone else can see it, I am good. Okay, so next we want to go ahead and try to install Storybook, and this has been a process. I spent the entire morning just trying to make sure that I could kind of get it working and tried a couple different ways. I did end up getting it working with pnpm and npm, but there's kind of a caveat to that, and I think it is because there's an alpha version of Storybook out that has fixed a bug somewhere. So I'm going to close down my server, and we're going to run this npx command. And what npx does is allow you to run an npm command without actually installing the Storybook command that we're going to run onto our system. So npx will allow us to run this sb at next command, and init is what we are going to run. Go ahead and hit enter there. I'm going to make this a little larger so we can read what's happening. So it says it's adding Storybook to our Svelte application. So it's already detected that we were running Svelte, even though we didn't tell it anything about Svelte here. Storybook just kind of automatically detected it, which is really cool, actually. That's going to take a couple minutes here. I've noticed another thing. Storybook's running on webpack, so it's a little slow, to be honest. There is a Storybook builder that's out, but I could not get that working with SvelteKit today. So we're not going to look at that one yet until they've fixed some bugs. And as you'll see today, we're still working out a few of the bugs, apparently, with some of the other dependencies to Storybook also. Okay, so now we've got Storybook installed in our package.json. Let's see what we've got here now. So it has installed all of these as dev dependencies. We've got add-on actions, add-on essentials, links, Svelte CSF, and the Storybook Svelte app. Like I said, it automatically detected that we were using Svelte and put all of that in there for us. And we also have these two scripts, Storybook and Build Storybook, that it is automatically generated for us with that command. But if we run npm run Storybook, which would run that Storybook script there, let's see what happens. I'm going to make this a little smaller, and if that's too much, port 6006 is not available. I must have these running somewhere else. I don't think I have VS Code running anywhere else, which is super fun. But yes, let's just go ahead and try that. And it was going to just bump up the number to 6007 instead of trying to run on 6006, because apparently I run on WSL and Windows, and occasionally I have some bugs, but not very often. But there's some bugs with like the ports and stuff sometimes where they will keep running, and without killing the port, it was just going to bump it up to 6007. So I said yes, but we ran into some errors. So the errors we have here, if we read this, it kind of tells us a little bit of what's going on. It says we must use the import to load an ES module. So that kind of sounds familiar because we use the import all the time in SvelteKit to import different packages and things. So this says require of ES modules is not supported, and it suggests that we change this JS file here in the ES module file, because we have this type of module in our package.json, to change the file type of that JS file to end in CJS, which means common JS, which is one way that you can do it. But I have another trick that I want to try here that I found today. And that is to go ahead and in your Storybook folder that it generated for you, create a new file called package.json. And in this package.json, we're just going to add a new type, common JS, and save that. Also, the other thing that it didn't tell us in there is that it kind of mentioned this require syntax, but it didn't really tell us how to fix it. So we're just going to change this to import. And I have Prettier on globally, and it likes to format this. So I'm just going to save that without formatting. And we are going to cross our fingers and see if npm run Storybook will work now. Ta-da! Take all the time you need. And it has actually started. And you may see this error here that it says it could not open it in a browser, and maybe that means it can't automatically do it. But if I control click on that, it will open our Storybook application up right in our browser. So we are, what are we, 10 minutes in? And we have Storybook running. I'm good with that. Anybody else excited for that? These are automatically generated Storybook files that they just give you as a default to kind of see how Storybook works. So all of the stories folder, when we ran that mpx sb at next init command, it generated this .storybook folder and the stories folder for us. And it created all of these components. We can now kind of get this out of the way. Actually, I'm just going to close the terminal there so we can kind of see what these are. This is just a default page And I'm actually going to show you what that looks like. We're going to go into routes and index.svelte and take all of that out. Save that, and I'll start up a new script tag. And we're going to import the page component from, where is that? Let's see. It's in the stories folder. So we're going to go up out of the routes folder into the stories folder into the page.svelte file. And we will page, save that. Now I actually do need a new terminal so we can run our dev server for SvelteKit so we can see the actual application, and that's going to be over here. And so this is the page component that came with Storybook by default. And I mean, we could also do the import header from stories, and I wish I had set up aliases or something for these, but I figured that would be kind of a waste of time for today. And the button is the other one that it gave us. Svelte. And let's see what those look like. Let's put the header above, and let's put the button just down here in the, oh, the header is duplicated. Let's take the button out. That wasn't actually even showing, was it? Oh, the page has the header in it. And why is the button not showing though? Oh, there it is. It just, oh, it doesn't have text. Okay, so what is our button file looking for? A label. Let's pass a label that says button. Nice, okay. And what are our other props that we have here? Primary. If anybody wants to see anything specific too, let me know. I mean, button is showing, but only that line. Yeah, you're right. It was. I just needed to add the prop in there for the label. What did I say? Background color. Let's try that. Background color equals, let's try cyan. Ooh, nice. Oh, I mean, these just work like regular Svelte components, right? So this isn't anything special. The thing that is special that's supposed to come with Storybook, that's one of those bugs I told you about, is import meta and story from its Storybook. I have to open this up because I don't remember what it was called. Add-on. Let's see. It's this add-on Svelte CSF. Storybook add-on. Storybook add-on Svelte CSF. There we go. Meta and story. And then I think you use meta. I was just going to try to use meta like that. And it says there's an unexpected token, and there's an open issue in this right now. If we search for Svelte CSF on GitHub, see if we can find it. And there is an issue right here where no one has commented on it. So I'm expecting that this will get resolved at some point and you'll be able to use the Storybook stuff like this, but we can actually use the Storybook version just fine. So I don't think there's anything wrong with just using Storybook as in the stories folder. I really don't love the default way that they just kind of chunk all of this stuff into one. So I do want to show another way that you can kind of group your components to better organize everything. So let's take this back to where we had just the page, just so that's running. Yeah, that will work. And the page actually has the header and the button. So we will get rid of those. Oops. Page, save. And no, I didn't want to do that. I love the auto hide feature, and then sometimes I hate it. And let's refresh that, and that will come back up. So now we have the default page Storybook component up there. Okay. So to organize these a little bit better, I like I said, do not really love this at all. What I like to do is to create this lib folder that SvelteKit by default gives us that alias with the $lib. Also don't love the $. I usually switch it to an @ symbol, but when I'm doing things like these, I like to keep it as close to the docs as possible. So I will go ahead and leave that $lib syntax so we can use that alias here. And inside of lib, we're going to create a components folder. This is going to tell us this is where all of our components are going to live. And so for components right now, we have a button and a header, kind of, because the page is just using those two components and then has some templating. That's really more of like a route. So I'm going to create a new folder and call that button, and another new folder and call that one header. And what we will do is take all of these button files and drop that in there. And it's going to get mad at us for a minute here. We're going to take all of those header files and drop that in there. And we're going to take, well, page does have CSS, so let's go ahead and create a new folder for page too. Although it's not really a component, just for the sake of brevity, go ahead and grab, oh Lord, there we go. Grabbed all three of them. I'm going to stick this assets in this root just because I don't have to fix all of the imports for them that way. And this introduction, I will sit in there as well. So now that stories folder is completely empty, and I am just going to delete that permanently, get rid of that, and it's gone. But the cool thing is that Storybook looks through your entire application for these story folders, so you can organize them however you want, and it just finds these stories folders. So let's fix some of our some of our components are going to the wrong thing. So import button, it's looking for it in this root. So we're actually going to go up one and go into the button folder, and then it will be able to find that. And page, I believe, does the same thing. We need to go up a folder into header. That will be fine. Oh, and look, it automatically just reloaded that without having to do anything. I thought I would have to rebuild it, but apparently it is just automatically doing it. So we have that webpack sitting over here, and it just automatically refreshed for us. Using stories directly in components that are in a story gives error because they are created in isolation. So someone had a comment. Using stores directly in components that are in a story. Okay, so if you're using a Svelte store, that causes errors in Storybook as well. I did not try that, so that is a good point. And they were asking, how do you use things like the $lib in an import in a component that is in a story? It gives me an error. So what I think is happening with this, it gave me an error too if I used it in one of the stories files. And I think because of the Svelte options that we have to create aliases, let's see, it doesn't have that anymore. I might have to go and look up my aliases real quick and see what the correct, just a second here. So Vite resolve, let's see. So in here, we can, not there, next to target, create a new thing for Vite, which gives us our Vite config, and resolve. And inside of that, we have aliases. And I think there used to be the $ aliases here. And in the latest version of SvelteKit, I believe it got rid of all that. I don't know if that means that those aliases are gone or if they're just kind of hidden away now. So what we used to have here is $lib, I think, and then we use path, which we will have to import, but we've got path, no, not path 2D. Sometimes VS Code just kills me with their automatically putting stuff in there you don't want. So that's the root, and then src, and that's the lib folder. And then we used to have, there's another one in there. I can't remember what the other one was. Lib, and I mean, I'm going to go ahead and create the components one just so we can have the components folder too. So path.resolve c/lib/components is that one. And this also goes in the JS config file so that your VS Code knows where those are. Oh, there it is. That's the other one that we had, is this one right here. Okay, so lib asterisk, $lib asterisk path. Maybe we don't need that one because that is giving me a syntax error there. Let's just go with that. And we've got to import path from path. And we'll save that. And the other new thing with SvelteKit now is that it automatically restarts the server. Oh, I guess it crashed because I didn't have path imported at first, but it's supposed to automatically restart the server for you when you, what is happening now? Page import. Could not resolve stories, page.svelte. So page.svelte is looking for stories and it can't find it. It's not. Oh, I have that on. Okay. Good job, Brittney. Okay, so $components /page/page.svelte should be correct. Okay, now we're running. It's always super fun when we have random errors here. Okay, now where was it? We did the Svelte config. We fixed our, lost for a second here. Okay, so we actually used our alias right here, the $components. But you said that when you use it inside of the stories is where it happens. I think I tried to use it inside of here. So if inside of here I said $components, what happens? Yeah, so that we get that error because of this alias. I think it doesn't know what to do with that because we put it in our Svelte config, but we didn't put it in this main.js file, which has kind of like our Svelte options here. So I did not try this, so we are in no man's land now, but we're going to see if we can. I don't even have pre-process. That's kind of interesting that this just automatically generated that. Let's see if we can find some Storybook documentation on config. Let's try Svelte config. See, that little auto hide feature is gonna bother me today. I didn't want it to be distracting. 0 config setup. Let's just see what we've got here. Storybook for Svelte. 0 config. No, this is just a blog post. See, these are the imports I was talking about with the add-on Svelte CSF that are broken. Got Svelte config inside Storybook. Looks like pre-SvelteKit. That could be very much so because the Storybook Svelte that they want you to use is the dgit command from the original Svelte compiler, not SvelteKit. So that is possibly the case. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything in here about that config, so let's go away. Storybook for Svelte. Let's try making, whoops, that required. Yeah, of course, 0 config is in there. Create the config file. anyone knows how to add in the config, feel free. I don't think, what was it called in our Svelte options? Looks like, this looks like prettier. Like that's what prettier calls the Svelte options. Svelte options Storybook. Let's see if we can get anything with that. No, I wanted camel case. Where is Svelte options? Svelte options. Okay. Add a Svelte options.preprocessor in the main.js file. That's where we're at, but what are some of the properties we can add here? Let's just see if it won't give me any IntelliSense on it. Preprocess is one of these things. I'm just going to try to drop this sucker in there and just see what happens. So I'm copying all of that Vite config and I'm just going to try to drop it not in there. That's not where I wanted it actually. We want it to go here. Oh no, it doesn't like that. Oh, that was where I wanted it. In the Svelte options, yes. Okay, my bad. I don't think it likes that. And when I saved it, my global prettier likes to do that. So file, save without formatting, go back over, close, 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 and see. Probably does need a rebuild now. Yeah. Wow. That's a gigantic error. Okay, so npm run storybook. Broken build. Path is not defined. Do I have to define path in here? Oh, yeah, I do. Yep. How can we do that? Can we require around? Oh no, we changed that to import. Just gonna try it with that and see what happens. Still broken. And import path from path. It's mad at module. I don't work in these module export common.js files at all anymore, and I do not remember how to make path work with ESM. Import path with So I can't use require because of SvelteKit and because we're using ESM. I have told this folder to use common.js, but it still wants me to use like import on this preprocess here. So it's actually importing the Svelte config file. I don't think I can use require, but let's try it. Const path equals require. Isn't that how you do it? Require path. Is that right? Okay, so maybe let's try that. But it's actually like, I may not need this Vite config here because it is actually importing the entire Svelte config file. Maybe it's just getting mad because I don't have path, but now it's mad because path isn't used. Thanks, Patrick. Patrick is saying import is ESM, but Storybook is processing the file as CommonJS. And it's one of the issues with Storybook is that it's trying to use CommonJS when we are using ESM with SvelteKit. So we're using CommonJS in our package.json for these two files, but it's importing the Svelte config file. So I'm still at a loss here. You'll have to do require. If you can use async, you can use await import. So let me see what this error was. Wow, it did more that time. Let's see. Pageless Svelte can't resolve, so it's still mad about that alias. Okay. So this is not working. Ghost, if you do want to jump in, Ghost is one of our sirens also. Do you mean to await the require up here? Or, I mean, async this and then like async and then, no, you can't do that. I don't know what you mean. That didn't work. The alias thing didn't work. I think that is why it is mad at us, though, is because it's not grabbing those aliases. That's pretty frustrating, but I mean, it's not a horrible workaround to just put the imports in there. So, I mean, we can always just switch these back, and this doesn't really matter. That is kind of annoying, though. So what was it? This. Hey, Ghost decided to hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool.
So before I get rid of this, you want me to try something?
What's the issue again? What's it not letting you import?
It doesn't like the alias. So we use the alias $ components to path that.
Well, I would assume that's because the Storybook stuff isn't getting processed by Vite.
No, it's getting processed by webpack. So,
well, yeah, unless you can define your alias in webpack, then you're going to have to do relative imports.
Okay, so I would need like a webpack config in here. I'm good.
I don't know how Storybook loads that, so I would honestly the easiest way is just to do like the relative.
So I would
imports.
just do relative imports. I think instead of trying to use the aliases, I think that is probably the best workaround here because nobody wants to write a webpack config, right?
Yeah. What was the import the ESM issue you was having?
So Storybook, because it uses Webpack and CommonJS, when you first install it, you have to do some workarounds. So you have to add this package.json and tell it to use CommonJS, and you have to switch this from require to import to get it to run.
Right. Fair
okay,
enough.
This is relative. This is the one that we need to switch back. And save that. Oh, that's too many. There we go. Oh, helps if your server's running. Okay, now we're back. So I guess that's kind of the thing. Go ahead and use relative imports instead of aliases for now until Storybook, I guess, gets on the ball and starts adding some features for SvelteKit and integrations for ESM. Someone asked, how can we import Tailwind into Storybook? And this is not something I've explored. So if we go down this road, it's going to be a little hairy, but I can try to at least start the process. So there's a Svelte add command for Tailwind. I'm going to look that up. Add Tailwind to your Svelte project. We're going to use this command. I'm going to shut down my server and paste that. And this will automatically generate all of the Tailwind stuff, set up your Tailwind config file. It will import it. It will get your post CSS config file. And I don't know if anyone noticed that post CSS and Tailwind both have the CJS extension on the end. And that's that common JS thing that we were talking about. It's the same problem that we're having with Storybook that we have with Tailwind. Why is it telling me to PNPMI? I didn't use PNPM, did I? Did I use PNPM for that? No, NPX. Why is PNPM trying to tell me to do that? Anyway, so we're not going to PNPMI. We're going to NPMI because we used NPM. PNPM is just a performant node package manager, which I really like because it saves your space on your disk, because it uses a kind of like global file. Instead of having node modules in every single folder, it uses that global one and doesn't have to import it into each individual project that you have. But I'm not using that today. I did also get it up and running. So if anyone's interested, let me link that before I forget. There is one with, where did you go? I can't find it there. I know I have it in Discord. So I will find it. Discord. Where are you? Error with PNPM. Open that. And this is the link that will tell you, and it tells you exactly in there. It's very similar to this, but if you're using PNPM to do this, it's kind of a similar thing that you have to do to get it up and running. So that will work with that. We've installed Tailwind. We ran npmi to install all of our dependencies, tons of vulnerabilities. But what that did is gave us our Tailwind config. It gave us our post CSS config, and it generates the app CSS with all of your post CSS Tailwind commands and runs the layout and puts that app CSS import in there. Oh, Mark was saying that it looks like in the Storybook docs that you can hook into webpack inside of the main.js file in Storybook and define your aliases in there. Do you have a link? And I will take a look at that. I was trying to Google it, and I mean, sometimes I'm a good Googler and sometimes I'm not. Let's see what happens if I try to do something with Tailwind here. So Tailwind, Storybook, feet, and what time is it? Okay, 20 more minutes. Someone says that they have it all set up. So we kind of did this first part. We've got our app, we've got our Tailwind. Where is our Storybook? There's StyleInt. Settings.json. Storybook init. Yep. Okay, so they're using this other package that I was talking about called Storybook Builder V, and I did try that with SvelteKit today, and it was not working. So I'm kind of afraid to try this one. Svelte Storybook 2. Oh no, that's not what I want. Well, that might help if they have a GitHub repo. Visit site. Okay, this is just a Storybook application and it does not have, oh my goodness. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Let's try GitHub. Does this have Tailwind? Yes. Storybook. I just want to see how they have Storybook or Tailwind integrated in here. Did they do anything special? Storybook Tailwind build what? I don't see anything like fancy. Let's just try using Tailwind in one of these components. So on this button, there's the class dot join. They're doing some interesting JavaScript on there. So instead of page here, let me try, actually, let me just try doing the button and what's on the button props. Style is equal to background color. Oh, all of the CSS is here. Okay, so let's just say button in general, and I'm gonna add apply. Yeah, I know. Oh yeah. Kind of deviated from what I was doing there. Button, sorry. I got a little distracted. So add apply, let's apply some background. Sure, like Slate 800 and color. No, that's not it. Text. It has been a minute since I have used Tailwind, so bear with me there. Color? What is the text color? Wait, can you just do white? No. Oh, Lord, Brittney. Tailwind, CSS, color, text color. Where is just color? Text color? Yes. Text white. Okay. I tried that, I thought. Save. Where's my... Do I not have that running anymore? No, I do not. Let's see. npm run dev. Get that. Yep. All right, now, so thank you. Okay, and we need to pass that label back to it. So we need a label that says button or some text. Yeah, we've got the button. We're not getting, just gonna, it's not passing any of those. I wonder if it's because of like specificity or something. Storybook button. Ah, there we go. Okay, so now, I mean, it's working in here. So let's see if it's working in Storybook. It doesn't look like it is. Well, let me try passing primary. Yeah. It's not passing them to Storybook, but I don't see any like additional things that you would have to do. Could give this like padding 4 and border, no, rounded. Is that medium? Did they change that too? Border radius. No, that's correct. Why did all of it stop applying again? Oh, because I put primary on it and I'm not using the primary. Oh, wow. Right. Adding 4 and rounded medium. Okay. padding Y4, padding X8. Let's try it. Rounded. Yeah, large. No. Okay, let's take this to 4. I'm just really trying to get something that's not super hideous there. Okay, that's fine. But, okay, Tailwind. Missing post CSS loader. So add-ons are right. Oh, there's a web. Oh, yes, that's what I was looking for. Webpack. Final. Basic. Config. Use. Oops. Use. Loader. Post CSS loader. I may have to install this. Options. Post CSS plugins. Require Tailwind CSS and require auto prefixer. SvelteKit does use Vite, and it also uses rollup when you're doing the build step. It will use rollup to make it more concise and do like an extra run through for your build step. Why is this mad? A comma is expected. Did I miss a comma somewhere? Just try copying that. Oh, there is. Expected. Okay, so we're missing. We got to here. We need that and that, and then we need that. Save. Did it not give me the path? And it didn't return it. I thought I copied all of that, but apparently I didn't. Return config. Yeah, that is the catch, that Storybook uses Webpack. And there is a Storybook Builder Vite, but there are still bugs with it that I didn't want to use that today. So hopefully once Storybook Builder Vite has the bugs worked out, it should fix it. It does, and this may be something to dig into further, but there's an experimental Storybook Builder Vite using Vite. So yeah, that's what I was talking about. And that I will drop the link to also. But like I said, I could not get that running today. Storybook Builder Vite. This one? No. I'm going to do this one. There it is. Okay. We've got about 10 minutes left. I'm going to see if this works. If it doesn't, I'm just going to go ahead and push this up to GitHub, and we're going to run with what we have. So what we've learned is that we can get Storybook up and running. We cannot use our aliases yet unless this works, and we need to use the relative paths. We've got Tailwind installed and working locally, but we can't use it in the Storybook folders files. So let's try one more time to see. X out that and that and that. Config.resolve.alias, alias name the thing. Where does that go? Config resolve alias. Let's see, resolve. Is it like this? Or does it go in this part? In the Webpack final, you can set up aliases. That's what I was assuming that, I mean, this is including the resolving the path names and stuff. So I assumed that I could put the aliases here. This has resolve alias inside the module.exports, but I wonder if it's a alias. It's not populating that. That's what I'm kind of concerned about, is it's not going to accept this. What were our lib path.resolve? Is this relative path? So src lib. Is that what that wants? You think it's a top level prop, so it goes like outside of the Webpack final or outside of this config part? Wish I could find an example that would show me. I'm such a visual person. I need to kind of see how it's done, and then I can figure it out, or figure it out from like reading errors, things like that. I just need to see it. It does say like alias and resolve, but I just don't know where alias goes. Between lines 16 and 15. That is helpful. Okay, alias. And our aliases were $lib path.resolve and .src lib. And let's try to get our components. Still don't think the syntax is highlighting is not correct, so I don't think it likes this, but we're going to go with it for a minute. Components. I'm going to add a trailing slash on these just for good measure. Yeah, it doesn't like that at all. Oh, I see what you're saying, because this is an arrow function. My God. My brain is not... These live coding sessions really like get me going into some deep stuff. It still doesn't like that. Path is not defined. But path is also not defined here. And it's not mad about that one. Oh, I missed the link. I'm going to have to find it, Mark. Where is the link that you posted? It's probably up a bit. I'm still not seeing it. I'm scrolling through all our comments. Sorry. I missed where you put the link to the example. Oh, I forgot that sometimes YouTube will automatically delete comments that has links in it too. How did you search for it? Did you search like Storybook, Webpack, config aliases? Alias imports and components. Config.resolve .alias. Oh, config.resolve .alias equals still doesn't like this. It's expecting a comma. You have a comma. Oh, it's got a model.exports equals, and it's destructuring config up here. And it's an arrow function. That broke other stuff. Remove spaces. Remove spaces like here. Oops. I didn't do it either. Shouldn't be touchy about spaces. I mean, it's just a JavaScript file. So hey, Ghost.
Hi, sorry. I didn't. Okay, you still haven't figured it yet. You need to remove your equals thing. You're assigning a value inside an export.
Yeah,
You need to
I
move
thought that was weird, and I had it this way, and it didn't like it.
So currently, you change it to a function, right? But you're not returning anything from that function. So you need to move that to the top of your function.
Oh, I see. I see.
And then you need to put everything else in an object and return it.
I see the return config. The return config is returning from here, and that's not supposed to be returning from there. That's supposed to be down here. But
yeah, so you need to actually put the rest of the actual like the webpack finder, the framework, start options, add-ons, etc. into an object and return that object. Because currently it's not in an object anymore because you took it out of one when you made it a function. If that makes sense.
Into an object.
Yeah.
And then what?
Why did you make the modular exports a function?
Because this example shows it as a function with destructuring config.
Yeah, so you see how they're saying like config.something equals. You're not doing that anymore. So maybe do like config.webpack final equals async, and then that's like that, and then do the same for the rest of the stuff.
So this was working, but it just wasn't resolving the Tailwind stuff. This is what I got from one of the Tailwind files for how to do the webpack final.
Right. Okay. So you need to. What are you trying to? Surely that. Wait.
Is it still running? Webpack final async config. I didn't get the link. I think that YouTube is automatically. Oh, someone tagged me in the Svelte Discord with a link. Let me see what this says real quick. YouTube is automatically deleting all the links, which is not great. Okay, so mocking imports. Okay, here, module.exports. So this is our object, and it's got this webpack final async config. And we're just returning the config. So, I mean, this is like returning all of our Tailwind stuff, so it should be working, but our Storybook build is broke now. Oh, it's still mad about path. It's mad about path here.
Are you importing path?
No.
Yeah, that's probably why then.
When you're in a common JS file, I mean, you do it like, you can do it inline by requiring it here, right?
Yeah, you should probably just do like const path equals require path at the top.
Up at the top.
Yeah.
Please work. Invalid options object. Post CSS loader. This is new though. I like new errors. Make this bigger. We're going to go over a few minutes, but that's okay. I'm kind of intrigued now. Post CSS loader has been initialized using an options object that does not match the API schema. So it's mad about this post CSS stuff. I will tell you what, I'm going to remove this stuff where we were trying to do Tailwind. We're going to get rid of that. Get rid of that. And try to run it again. Get this back up and running. Refresh. Please work. It's working. I just commented out all of that CSS so I could try the Tailwind stuff. We'll delete this Tailwind stuff. Oh, it is working. That is like a little bit of a relief. I don't know very much about like webpack and the configs, and so doing this was a little confusing to me. And without seeing the exact example for Tailwind or how to set up these aliases exactly, maybe we can do that in another one, or I can post something in the Svelte Sirens channel in the Svelte Discord. I'm going to go ahead and push this up to GitHub so the code is available and at least Storybook is running and we have something to look at. So let's do that. Let's get in it because I haven't done that yet. And let's see what we've got here. I'm going to close up some of this stuff. Okay. Got to get ignore file now. It's ignoring our node modules or SvelteKit folder. Got all this stuff that we're going to git add, git commit, initialize Storybook running in SvelteKit. And we are going to create a repo. I have the GitHub CLI repo create, I think is the command. Storybook SvelteKit is fine. Description, Storybook running in SvelteKit. Public, yes, and we'll add that and set my origin for me. So now I should be able, oh, it does default to master. So I'm going to check out a new branch. Actually, there's a new command. I found git switch. Git switch the main. No, that doesn't work. Switch name of git branch. Change name of git branch. What did it call that command? Git branch -m. Git branch -m main. It will switch master to main. And now I can git push origin upstream main. Nope, git push. Git push set upstream origin main. And now that will be available on the GitHub. I will put that link in the chat. Called that Storybook SvelteKit. I'm not going to look in my repo. Storybook SvelteKit. Copy and put that. You guys are faster than I am. I am learning some of the shortcuts and things. But anyways, at least we have a semi-running Storybook application. Tailwind is integrated in there, but it's not working with Storybook. So join us in 2 weeks on January 19th when we have Shadid Haq from Fauna Database, and he is going to be my guest, which in the future I'm hoping that we're going to have guests on this to come and show us new technology to integrate with SvelteKit, which I'm super excited about. And thank you all for coming, and I will see you next time. Later.